So number 2, I'll call it using formulas. We have 3 important formulas. The first one is called the difference of squares. This says if I have a squared minus b squared, it equals a plus b times a minus b. It says if I have a squared minus b squared, that equals a plus b times a minus b. Let me give an example of a problem where this works. So if we look under part 2, the third problem in that top box says x squared minus 15 equals 10. And they want me to find the roots. So I'm going to factor first, then I get the roots. So this right now doesn't look like this, because this one is not a perfect square. But I can do something very nice here. I can just minus 10 on both sides. And now I've got x squared minus 25 equals 0. Now, this problem looks very similar to this. I've got my a squared, I've got my minus sign, I've got my b squared. Miguel?
Why couldn't we just actively
You could. But I'm just trying to illustrate the point, but you're right. If we said to factor, though, you would need to do this first. Right? Now, what we want people to do is, again, there are going to be some people in this room who say, I don't want to do this, what I'm about to do next. But I think it is helpful. I always write a squared equals x squared. A squared equals x squared. And then I go ahead and write a equals x. And then I write b squared equals 25, and I write b equals 5. Just so I know what is what. Some people will say, I don't need to do that, that's fine. I think it prevents mistakes. So the minus sign, remember, is already there because it is a difference. Difference means subtraction. And now we can write our final answer. So this equals a plus b, so a plus b, x plus 5, times a minus b, x minus 5, equals 0. And there we have it factored. And now we want to find the roots, split it up, each one equals 0. Minus 5 on both sides. So let's stop here and see if there are questions on this strategy right here. Let's see. All right, so let me show you some other formulas. Of course, that was on tape. Okay. So number 2, I'll call it sum of cubes. I'll call it sum of cubes. Sum of cubes has this formula. I'm not sure you discussed this last year. You might have. It looks like the following. A cubed plus b cubed equals a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. You guys, Carla? One more time? Yep. A cubed plus b cubed equals a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay, so let's apply this now to problem number 1 on part 1, which says x cubed plus 125. Again, I would write a cubed equals x cubed, and I'd write a equals x. I'd write b cubed equals 125 and B equals 5. Right? And now I can go straight to my formula. So I go a plus b, so x plus 5, times a squared, so that's x squared, minus ab, minus 5x, plus 25. Let me stop here and take questions on this strategy. Jaylee? Say it one more time for me. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 5 squared. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's do now formula number 3, called difference of cubes. Difference of cubes is the following. A cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. A squared plus ab plus b squared. So we will need to kind of memorize these formulas. Not kind of. We will need to memorize them. Let me be direct. We need to memorize formulas.
So it's physics here? It's physics here?
No, even math has been memorizing formulas.
Yeah.
Come on, David. But yes, it is kind of physics, in a sense. Okay, now, an example of a problem like this is number 13 on part 1. So number 13 on part 1 says x cubed minus 64. Number 13 on part 1. Again, I would highly encourage people, like highly, to write a cubed equals x cubed, a equals x. Difference, that's why we have subtraction. I'd encourage people to write b cubed equals 64 and b equals 4. And then I would simplify. A minus b, so x minus 4. A squared, well that's x squared. Plus a times b, that's x times 4, so 4x. Plus b squared, 4 squared is 16. And that's the answer. Let me stop here and take some questions on the formulas. Any of the formulas. Jenny? Where did I get 4 for b? Somebody answer that question? Miguel, what do you think? Cube root of 64 is 4. Yep. Brenda?
When do we know when to set it up to equal 0?
Okay. When do we know when to set it up to equal 0? When you want to find the roots. When you want to find the roots. Rafa?
So that's the final answer in that form.
Yep.
You would have to factor in the quadratic.
Yeah, so who asked this question last period? I believe it was Lucio, was like, can this be factored? My understanding is this cannot be factored. I've never seen an example where this is factorable. I will check because I want to do some more research tonight, but I believe that this is never able to be factored. So this would be the final answer.
I guess that makes sense because you can square it both.
Right. Okay, so any more questions on the using formulas? Okay, let's move to the next strategy. Fabricio, could you? Yeah,
So
David.
basically we just plug in what we get.